Maybe. Hello there, everyone. Welcome into the craziest day ever. It is Women Unscripted once again, and that we are. That we are.
We certainly are.
We're trying.
It's the original four.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I can
And
hear
it's
it on
been
here.
a lot of years that we've been doing
high
the show.
five.
Yeah. No, we need the monkey.
What is it?
Oh.
This is for you, Sharon.
You know what? I actually was going to look for that thing. I am going to bring it on here.
This is one of our little private jokes. We were picking on Cher just for the love and the fun, right?
Last time,
Yes.
Priscilla and I both did it for you.
Yeah, we did. We did. She was here last month, and we did that.
I'm going to find it. I'm telling you, I'm bringing it on. It's going to be sitting right there. You just watch.
Next
I
time.
wish you could have heard us before the show. Anyway, I'm Barbara Marville-Kelly. To my left is Tinkerbella, also known as
everybody.
Helena Trangata in the neighborhood. Sharon Kistler, an amazing woman who also
And
is
all
very
of us.
well known in the community. And Maura, Sweeney, Maura for you, and very well known. And we started this show, gosh, I want to ask John. Hey, Rob, if John's back there, ask him if he remembers how long this show's been going. I wish we could do this
I
every
think it was,
day.
did you tell me it was like 5 years ago? When we
It
first
has-
started?
really?
How
It
does
is
time move
5.
so quickly? All right, there we go.
I
5.
don't know. But I'll tell you what, if you could have been behind the scenes here, what we were talking about, you're going to love this, okay? Because we're not going to talk about it on the air, all right? Yeah, we were talking about what's going on out there, politics-wise, COVID-wise, vaccine-wise, you name it, the divide, the this, the that.
Traveling.
All,
We talked about
Right,
traveling.
And
or the
traveling,
inability
and-
to,
and-
whatever it
yeah.
may be,
And
right?
moving.
Right.
We talked about moving
Yeah.
and lack
Yes.
of properties available.
Lack of properties available. If you want to sell your home, I'm your girl. Call me. I'm a licensed real estate associate. But we were really talking seriously about all the things that everybody's talking about,
Our tights not fitting.
Yeah. All the changes.
including the panty story. Stick around. That may come out like it did the last time Maura was
Thanks.
here. You weren't here. And we, oh, my goodness. But you know what? We're having fun.
Yeah.
We're having a good laugh for ourselves. And I'm just glad to be here. I feel very blessed.
Me too.
And Cher almost
too.
had tears. She did. She had tears in
I
her eyes
did.
because
I
we hadn't
did.
seen or
We
hugged
haven't
one
seen
another.
each other
Yes, we
on the
have.
same show.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
How long's it been since we've been on the same show? Were you
Together?
two together the last
It's been a few
time?
months.
No,
No,
because
we have
Oh.
been months.
Jimmy brought Maura last
You were
time.
not here last time.
Yeah, it's
Was
been-
Right, but before
the two
that,
of us and
Jimmy
Crisula,
brought
you
you.
weren't
It's been a
here, right?
while.
So maybe
Yeah.
I was here a few months ago.
And I was here with
But-
Crisula was here because Mar was traveling. I think.
not,
no, you
right.
weren't traveling.
Yeah.
No, I think
Where were
maybe my
you?
husband was in the hospital. I can't
That's what it
remember.
was.
But
Yes.
right, but for the 4 of us to be together, I bet it was obviously last year because
And
this
we
is
were
only
the original
February, but
Musketeers.
it was a while ago.
Yes, exactly. Well, we're here, and Cher always says, so what are we going to talk about today? And
Cher's always
You
the
know,
first one to say
she's
that.
the first one. I like
The
that.
planner, the planner.
Because
I'm going to get those cards back out. You know.
you oh, I meant to bring them.
I know.
I'll bring them next time.
Yes.
They're actually in my desk because I was
Yeah.
purging with all this time in between business and things like that. And so I decided to clean up my desk, and I'm going, there's my cards that
There
you
they are.
designed for me with the sealed with the kiss and the Women Unscripted.
The whole thing.
And I know she had a method in her madness because on
the back.
flip side of the card, she was putting her notes on
Here,
that lover.
here are the topics for
We're
today.
But that's good.
Well, it's like remembering.
Bulleted even.
Yeah, remembering website addresses and phone numbers.
That's right.
I mean, you know.
it's
I
better
wanna
than
make
writing
sure
it
I
on
don't
our
get
hand
that-
like we did when we were in school.
Grade school,
right?
yes.
There you go.
So anyway, I'm going to start this with something a little sort of unscripted. Actually, it is unscripted, but I wore this hat today because one of my friends.
love that hat.
It's just fun. It's fun. Do you know how the collection of hats that I have is? I
I
have
think
two.
you should wear one on every show.
Yeah, maybe I will.
I have.
Maybe you'll
mine.
start that.
If I had known, I would have worn mine.
Well, I could have said next time.
It would've
Okay,
matched
it'll be
my
a
outfit.
Hatitude show,
Ooh.
and I know one of
You have
my
to bring one for
one
me.
of my viewers from HSN has been asking to do a hat show.
Really?
I did one on
That would be
HSN. It was
fun.
called Hatitude.
You know,
Attitude,
there's
I love
something
it.
to that, Barbara, because just over the weekend, you know, on YouTube, you watch one thing and then you get all these recommendations. There was something about women in the 40s and fashion, and you know what I realized? I had forgotten how much hats meant to women back in the day.
yes.
And my hair, as you could tell, usually flat. I would be perfect for a hat, never take it off. And I'm thinking, some of these women look so chic. I would gladly do a hat show with you, providing you let me borrow one of your hats in the
Okay, you got
collection.
it. I'll bring them all.
But
in.
it's very elegant. Go ahead.
Well,
I love hats.
I do too, and I have for many, many, many years, and I still have the original. For any of you HSN viewers out there, remember Shel Kepler? I still have Shel Kepler's. It's like a dome hat. It's a Audrey Hepburn hat, and it's got all these Victorian flowers and ribbons and pearls. And
You need to go to the racetrack.
yeah, I know,
Like,
right?
Yeah, the
There we
Kentucky.
go.
Yes.
Somebody, I just saw a
Kentucky
picture with
Derby.
someone.
Yeah.
Maybe we should wear them right
You
before
know what?
the Kentucky
That's fun
Derby.
to do.
Yes,
though.
well, let's do that.
Because
That's a good
that is
time. When
May
is it?
5th,
Yeah.
or it's the first weekend in May.
Okay, let's do it.
So we could do the show
That's
the
very
last
clever.
show in
Yeah,
April.
yeah, and then we'll re-air it.
There we go.
Or we
That-
could have a fashionable tea.
Yes, we
You
could.
know, we could get all sophisticated.
Yes, we could get
As long as
and what will be in the
yes, exactly. What will be in the
Or the
teacup?
margaritas we were talking about.
yeah. What's with
Today is
Where
National
are
Margarita Day.
It's Margarita
Right.
Day.
Margarita Day. National,
So-
is it truly?
National Margarita Day.
Oh, I
She
didn't know
posted it early
How about
today,
that?
and I said, so bring it on to the show. We can have margaritas here. Anyway, so back to the hat story. So my friend Al, you can go to Alice Cleveland, who was actually instrumental in opening the doors for me to go onto HSN, and she wanted us to post a picture, and hers was all sensuous and sexy and beautiful looking and all of that, and I thought, well, let me see what I can do. So I put this pic, the one you commented on, I posted it somewhere for a moment, and it was with this hat and with this jacket that Kelly took. My husband is doing
Well, it
photography.
was the night after
Really?
we had gone to dinner. She had this jacket on, and then they went home that night, and she did that, and she did it barefoot. So she had bare feet and the hat on, so she looked like a little country girl.
Okay.
Hard one, too. So she wanted it in black and white, so I took it in color and put it in black and white. And this fella's name is Trevor, who made comments about it and said, that doesn't suit your style. I have some recommendations for you.
Trevor said this?
Yeah.
He had recommendations?
Yeah, he says he can refer me to some stylists.
Okay.
And I thought, okay. So I was going to really have some fun with this, right? I said, thank you for the compliment. I really appreciate it. He wrote back, he says, you look like a fake person. I go, thanks for that compliment, too. I'm a clone. And he wrote back and he goes, I knew it. So anyway, I didn't hear anything else from that, but I got the biggest kick out
Well, I
of it.
love
Barbara,
this.
that is so funny.
That is so you.
Like, it really is.
I love it.
If you could have seen some of the different personalities, oh my
need a
God.
pony.
You carry it very well.
But I did that when I was a kid.
See,
I like the way
yes.
Sharon did the
Isn't it
pony.
nice?
You need the pony.
Or a puppy.
Oh, wait. This is going to
so
go right
cute.
with this.
Oh my gosh. There we
You know,
go.
I would have loved that if I'd have known that. We could have been twins.
Okay.
You know?
All right. Next month,
Yeah.
we'll do something like that.
Country western. Yeah.
Where
I have a jacket like that, but not quite as much bling.
Yeah.
I'll do it. And
I
I looked at it in my closet, and I thought, I haven't pulled
today
this
has
thing out
become
in
our
years.
fashion show.
Now I have a reason. Okay.
Yeah, then we'll do that. But
I
you
like
girls
that.
always look
pins
good.
on
Look
there.
at you.
Oh, it's already got enough.
pins.
Today
No,
it's
it's
become our
blingy, but
fashion
not.
show. See? You didn't know where it was going? There's
Right, here we go.
Here we go.
So
we-
So how
Thinking
many people
back in
are
the
actually wearing makeup these days when you're not going anywhere?
Oh, yeah.
oh, I don't.
Wait a
You're
minute.
wearing makeup when you,
You know
don't go
what?
out?
I don't go anywhere without my lipstick.
And I used to wear
So-
this lipstick, but it doesn't matter now.
Wait a minute. You know, every time, and I'm really not so much into the masks. I wear them because I'm nuts, but I look on the inside of my masks like there's all the lipstick.
I know.
What? And they never look clean. As many times as I wash my mask
know.
because of the lipstick.
But why do
you're
we
right.
do-
I'm thinking, why am I wasting
are
a
we doing
tube of
that?
$25 lipstick when nobody's going to see it?
I know you
You're
can relate
right.
to this, right? It's
Well,
true.
I've
All
been
these
very-
things
how
that
many
have
people-
happened.
Wait a minute. How many people are in their pajamas at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
Oh, me, that is me.
Oh, all right. All right.
It's like I start working or watching Netflix or something, and it's like I'm binge watching, and I look down.
Or how about this one?
Oh, wait a minute. I have a Zoom
still
call.
have my
in 10
I was
minutes.
gonna say, or you have a Zoom call, so you put on a nice top and you
And
leave
hope
your,
nobody
you leave your pajama
Yes.
bottoms on. You leave your
Yes.
PJs on. You got the
That's
fuzzy
right.
house slippers, and you're sitting there going,
That's That's exactly right.
And then I put on a little makeup for that because I would look washed out otherwise.
Oh my gosh.
It's
tell you.
amazing
it's
how much
true.
has changed,
How
right?
much
In the
has
course of a year
changed.
now.
We're
People's
coping,
habits.
adapting.
All right, now, what I'm thinking, we're now in 2021, and I know this is kind of where you're thinking about for this year. And now we're hearing this is going to continue, that maybe that what I heard yesterday on the news, and someone, please correct me if I heard wrong, but Dr. Fauci was suggesting that maybe in 2022,
You're on the air,
we may
miss.
start lowering some of the current restrictions.
In
and
2022.
Family members might be able to start hugging extended family members, as in grandparents, grandchildren. You know what I thought about that? I remember it was 2 weeks to stop the curve, or to flatten the curve. And trust me, I mean, I know there are some people I know that have been affected by COVID, some very
Yes,
seriously.
yes.
So I certainly don't
And we're
mean
not
to
taking
minimize,
any
not-
seriousness away
Not
from
at all.
That's right.
any of this
That's
at
right.
all.
But when I started thinking, we went from 2 weeks to flatten a curve to now we're in year 2, and we already have Dr. Fauci talking about year 3.
Yeah, yeah.
And so do you see over the course of time what that can do to a society,
Yes.
to families,
Yes.
and to the manner in which we all live and think
Yes.
this is the normal way of living? It's sort of like going through a war. And when people come out on the other side of it, they forgot what life was like before the war because they had that interim, and it's almost having that kind of an
It's
effect. but in a
PTSD.
different
It's
way.
PTSD.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
Trauma.
there's so many poor people that are afraid to come out
Traumatized.
of the
It is.
house.
How
afraid-
about the kids that
Oh,
are losing
And
school?
oh,
You know
the
what?
poor kids.
I
Oh
had
my gosh.
JD, my grandson. He was there at the house all day yesterday. It was a trip. That's why I'm so full of energy and just really revived with him. Talk about relive, restore, revive, and regenerate. It was one of those days, and we were reminiscing on what it was like when in the days when I was homeschooling.
Barb's favorite time of
My
the whole
favorite time,
life.
and his favorite time. And you should have seen him go into a total drama yesterday when I brought it up. And he goes, "No, not homeschooling again, ever." He was so dramatic. And you had to see the antics of this kid. But we came out of it well. We became so bonded during that time.
yeah.
And he learned how to manage his emotions, and he reminded me when all the Pasco school system was shut down and I'm all frustrated trying to get online to do one of the things. And he goes, "Mimi, now this was after I did a little heart math with him with Heart Smart Kids." He goes, "You need to manage your emotions."
No, but the best, I have to say it again. The best was when tech support
Oh.
couldn't tell Barb how to get whatever she was trying to do. And they said, "Can you put your grandson on?"
Oh, that's so cute. Did he sign
I didn't even take it as an insult. I'm going, "Thank you, Jesus." And he wouldn't come on because
And they know how to do it. You
He didn't know who
which is
this person was.
Yeah,
So
they
he
know
would-
how
he
to
would-
do it.
Well, I am happy to
They're
hear that you
brilliant.
said you had a really good bonding experience.
It was really unbelievable.
And she hugged him.
Yeah, and for 3.5 months. And so I've been dripping on him, and he's listening. Yesterday, I have a healing drum. He has a healing drum. You know what they are, with the tongue drums. And I got that for him for Christmas. I'm just testing the waters with my grandson to help be a prominent glamour in his life with some substance. And so last week or the week before, Jason said he was frustrated about something. He ran upstairs, and he says, "Where are you going, dude?" He said, I'm going for my drum. I have to play my drum right now. And so yesterday, I don't know, it was just crazy chaos and love chaos, right? And because, everybody, when you get together with your family, it's fun. It's craziness too.
Kids and dogs and
it was just all in one room.
Yes.
So he just walked over and just started playing my drum and actually changed everything, just
The vibration changes.
vibration. Yeah. So I'm really
everything is
pleased.
energy.
I think that's important that
Oh, yeah.
people realize, we were talking about that,
on the way out.
is being very aware of,
Yes.
Yeah. just the negative and the positive vibration, because then you can do something about it.
Yes.
If you witness
Yes.
yourself and you're negative or too far, or someone else is, you can change that.
You can.
by thinking something different or
Instantly you can
doing
change
so
it.
instantly.
And we all
most
do
people
that.
don't think like
They
that,
don't.
though.
either
Not
they-
everyone.
Well, they may not have reached
Yeah.
that energy consciousness level, or they may not think they need anything like that if they're not exposed to it.
Or have the tools, I think that's important
Yes,
too. Like
yes.
some people, if they realize that they're powerful beings and they can shift their mindset,
That's right.
and then it's going to create a different feeling. And that's
Right.
one way to manage your emotions. But
That's right.
some people don't know that they actually can do that. They're
I
they're
know.
reactionary, they're reactive.
Well, who teaches
know.
us
And that's
this
how
in
all
school?
this
You
stuff
don't
that
get
we're
taught
talking-
this kind of stuff in
Right.
school.
No. And,
You get-
but they are now. And guess
Yeah.
what?
Meditation. They're
Guess,
teaching meditation.
That's right,
guess
Helena.
what my grandson's doing? I know we manifested this. He's taken martial arts, Taekwondo. He started last week, and they're meditating. Because we went over to Jamie's clinic, and she surprised me and said, by the way, your grandson's taking martial arts right around the corner. Would you like to go? I go, oh, yeah. So you'll love this. So we went in, and we bowed, and we went in. Martial arts, they do that. And so I saw him out there, and he saw us, but he scooted around the corner. And I didn't realize that he didn't know who we were. And he said he thought we were strangers.
What?
Mhm.
How funny.
Yeah, and it was really kind of comical in a sense. Well, I had my mask on.
there
We
you
were
go.
dressed up. When he comes over,
Different
I'm
environment, right,
slopping
right.
around in my sweats or whatever, and we're
PJs.
not dressed up at all.
Not glamour.
PJs. So he walked by us to go to the bathroom, straight looking ahead, didn't even look sideways, and he thought Kelly and I were strangers, right? But he was doing really good in the school, and I watched them meditate, and they're really learning discipline and that power that
With
you're talking about.
self-discipline and self-awareness.
Exactly.
Well, we discussed this on the way up in the car. It was like an hour's drive, but it went like that. Good thing we didn't overdrive to get here. But because we had so much to talk about.
We
But-
passed the flags once before.
Yes. Right, we don't do that again. But one of the things we were talking about is this era of isolation and change, where, normally we were all in our own groove. Everybody was living their own life
Right.
and busy. And suddenly everything came to a screeching halt.
Right.
Everything was adjusted, and many of us found ourselves isolated. So for those who
Yeah.
all of a sudden were quiet and had to deal with a lot of whatever was going on
Mind
emotionally
chatter.
and never
Yes.
did before.
That's right.
Many didn't know or have the skills to get themselves out of that.
That's
and we were talking about this on the way because you have several people that you're counseling with as a coach and they could be up in age, they could be very smart,
Oh,
but
sure.
never knew that they could actually take control maybe of their emotions, their mindsets, and their energies. And I said, some of us, if we've had a difficult time in life, we learn it, right? We learn it out of necessity. Others maybe are born that way and they're just more intuitive. But there are other people, and it doesn't matter the age or the background, they don't know that they can change the environment by changing what's within rather than having their environment, their external environment affect them.
That's right.
And how powerful that is. And hopefully that's one of the good things that could come out of this COVID thing.
Yes.
The fact that you could spend 3 months homeschooling a grandchild, you would have never thought you'd do it, right?
Yeah.
Well,
What a life
I
change.
never
She
thought.
went in kicking.
I said, oh, sure, I'll be happy to. But the funny thing is that I set this whole program up on February 14th last year when I experimented with Heart Smarts, with Heart
Wow.
Math with him. And I thought, if, kids that age, they have the attention span
Tell
of a
everyone how
gnat.
old he is. I want to say like
He
5 or
just
6.
turned 7 in
Oh, okay.
November, so he was 6.
Yeah.
And I thought, I have him all to myself. I'm going to see how this is going to work for him. So we put Heart Smarts on the pad, and I let him go. I thought, if I can get 5 minutes, I will be a happy camper. So he watched it at 5 minutes, looked up at me, and he looked back on the pad. He lasted 35 minutes on that.
Wow.
And it was all about how to manage your emotions in a kid's way. But he's so above and beyond with his intelligence.
Yeah.
He's ready for the adult program, seriously. But it almost set the tone. This was before I knew I was going to be. It was in February a
before
year ago.
homeschooling.
Yeah.
Before COVID. What was I, so.
And all
at
kids
that.
need to know that.
Absolutely.
I mean,
That's a
I
life skill.
truly
Those are
believe
life
you need to
skills.
start with the children to teach them the life skills,
Yes.
managing emotions.
Thank you.
And also building their self-esteem, because
Yeah.
kids, if they're troubled or they're having difficulty, they're too hard on themselves. They
Very
think, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, or I'm not pretty enough. There's a lot of comparisons, but if they
Yes.
go in to the heart center,
Yes.
then they're acknowledging, their true
Then,
self.
then they'll
know?
soon be teaching their parents.
Yes.
Or their grandparents.
Right.
You
So
know,
the
that
fact
is
that it
true.
came back to Barb, when he said, you need to manage your emotions, to
That's
her,
He got
it was like
He
it
got
shows that he's learning these
Yes.
lessons. I mean, it's powerful.
It is powerful.
Right, and imagine growing up in a world like that, having a job, having a spouse, having
Yes.
children, being a person in your community. What a difference it makes, because every person that could learn to find their own peace ends up being such a vessel and a vehicle
That's right.
to extend peace in the world. And really, when you think about it, we're looking for things like love and peace. And when you have that
Absolutely.
environment, you could change all of society. You can come up with
Exactly.
so many more solutions.
Of course, because love heals. In fact, my Valentine's card that I put out there, and Kelly and I did a Valentine's show on love, and on the front of it, it's a beautiful card, and I posted it on Facebook. You guys probably saw it. Love is your superpower. So you ask JD, what is your superpower? Because he
knows.
it's love. He's
Right.
love, love, love. Then he'll goof off and say something off the wall just to be funny, but that's who he is. But he knows the importance of love and why it doesn't work when people are mean, nasty, hateful. And I think that we as adults can really help our children by training that. I
Sure.
mean, love is the highest emotion.
Yeah.
It is the highest emotion. It's known to heal. And when we can get into that frequency, like you were saying,
Yeah.
Sharon, and you work with that with your clients, it's automatic. And when it's proven by science,
Yes.
it works. Frequency. It
Yeah.
raises the frequency. When the frequency is low, it's the worst time to make decisions. You can raise it within less than 60 seconds just by changing your thought process. Thoughts are things.
Exactly.
And I didn't mean to really go out into a coaching program, but it
No, but no,
organically,
that's
it
absolutely
organically
true.
rolls into that because,
Yeah.
I mean, if you could have been here before the show and listened to what we all have our own individual
Yeah.
thoughts about what's going on in the world. I follow my heart and I listen to my intuition, and I'm moving forward along with my husband, my friends, my business colleagues to be productive and to make a difference. If I walk around in the shop, when I do go out, because I do go out all suited up with my little mask, but you can better bet that I've got my hat on that says LOVE, right? In rhinestones, of course.
Yes.
My $5 flea market hat, and do you know how many compliments I
That's
get
right.
on that thing?
Well, and I was just going to say this about the mask thing. That has repercussions too.
Oh, I know.
Because you're limited in your communication.
Yes.
Your expression.
Yes.
And that is definitely having an effect with people, because the ones that feel alone, and you go out in the world and you can't. I always pull my mask down and I go, I'm smiling, because
I've had people do that to me as well.
It's like I want them to know that I'm smiling. I mean, you can sometimes see
You
it with
can
the
see
eyes.
it with the eyes sometimes,
yes.
but if
But-
somebody wears it way up there,
Yeah.
you can't.
And you can't read their eye. Anyway, it
I know.
definitely has an
I know.
effect.
I
But
know.
again, with the love thing, with the kids or any of us, it's knowing how to send and receive love.
Yes.
That's
That's a
right.
big thing.
Yes.
Because some people feel like, I don't feel loved, but you can send love. Or you can say thank you, I appreciate you. You have the gratitude.
Sure,
I
sure.
love this day, and then you're building that energy frequency, like
Exactly.
you were saying.
Exactly.
And that's how you do it. You've got to recognize. But I think the masks actually really restrict the
Communication.
the vibe communication
Not only that,
all the time.
I
we
get
have to watch
exhausted.
out.
I get
Yeah.
exhausted wearing that mask.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes. Well,
And
for-
when
Yeah.
I went to get my blood work done and
Yeah.
get the results on it and everything, and I was saying to the nurse practitioner over there, I go, "Did you check my hormones?" She said, "Yes." I won't give you the results. It's too much information. But she said, "Do you feel agitated?" I said, not usually. But after she said that, I was monitoring myself. And every damn time I wear that mask, I get agitated.
Okay. You
I
know
do.
what?
Because I can't breathe. And I feel like I've done a cardio workout and didn't get any results from it.
You know, interesting you should say
agitation.
that. But it's interesting, all these things. We keep saying we have to get together for lunch so we could even go into detail about some of this. Now, I was working, you probably knew this, part-time for several months as an essential worker at the elections office, which was a really great experience for me. It gives me access to all of society. But when I first started working there was no requirement for masks. And then suddenly, it was 6 feet apart, then we needed to wear the masks. And once you put a mask on, you become, in a sense, faceless, nameless. You can't be identified.
I know.
And what it did is it further separated people. And what I remembered, because obviously I was going to do what I needed to do, even though I'd get back in the car at the end of the day and I'd look in the rearview mirror, I thought, what happened to my eyes? I looked like I hadn't been breathing all day long, and I needed fresh air so I could all of a sudden look alive. But what I made a decision to do during that time period, behind the mask, and I'm this way every store I go to, I'm going to make sure that people know I'm free, even though I'm wearing the mask, that people know that it's me, that my energy is free, that my energy is happy, that my energy is uplifted, as if the mask does not exist.
Yeah.
Because what I've noticed over the course of time is that people became so frightened, and I could understand why.
Yes.
And then they
It's
would
like they're
isolate even
withdraw-
further.
Yes,
And
yes,
God forbid,
yes.
if somebody should ever touch you, they would really
Oh, yeah,
get
they go out
frightened.
of their way to
Yes.
go around
Oh,
you.
yeah, definitely.
But I would
The fear
look,
thing.
right. So, every time we have something in life, and it could be anything, could be a relationship we're around that we don't like, we can either fall under it and be subject to it, or we could say, what am I going to exude? What is my energy going to be? What am I going to deliver that's going to change not only the way I feel, but also everything around me? And that was what I noticed, that I could be wearing that mask, and my personality and my heart, my energy exceeded whatever was appearing
I can agree
in
with
front
that.
of me.
Yeah, you can do.
And
you can do
but
that.
you have to actually decide that's what you're going to do.
That's
And I
true.
think the
Well,
other
just
thing
not
is,
very
I'm
natural.
talking a lot more, even though I have a mask on.
I am too.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the person who washes the
Yeah.
card at Publix or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Making
Because
conversation.
I just want to say to them, thank you for doing that, because they can feel it. They feel very invisible.
Isolated.
They're
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're standing there washing every card. That's not the job they applied for, probably.
Yeah.
But
True.
we have to continue to connect. That's the bottom
yes.
line.
Yeah,
and
because-
that's what you're saying.
And I
we
need
have
it,
to
too.
continue.
Yeah.
I have to too.
Yes,
I do
But
too.
the idea is that somebody, even if I'm the only one that says to them, thank you today. So
At least you were one.
I was one.
Yeah.
And so I want them to know I appreciate what they're doing for me.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what store it is,
Acknowledging.
and the same thing, if I see, like I noticed in the beginning, a lot of people weren't talking at all, or even if you talked to them, they would barely answer. But now I was just somewhere, and they were like, "Hi, how you doing today?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Thank you for asking. I'm doing great. How are you doing?" I mean, it was just we need to reconnect.
Yes.
Because we have allowed this thing to come into our world and separate us.
And it has on every level. But this almost seems like a segue into what you mentioned just before we went on live, Barbara. You were talking about how we're going to be something new going forward. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. What was the question, or what was the statement? Because this is a good
Rebuild.
segue.
What did I put there? Restore,
Reinvent and
rebuild,
reinvent.
relive,
Rebuild.
renew. I mean, you
Okay.
could use all kinds of our words for it, and that is what we're doing in a sense. I mean, Kelly and I are continuing doing on what. Doing on, that didn't make any sense at all. But doing what we've been doing, but at even a deeper level in coaching and getting the message out. But the funny thing is, you may laugh at this, but over the years, we've been together 23 years, and we said, if you want to know if you're with the right partner, imagine what it would be like if you were stark naked on an island and had to find coconuts for your food. Could you have a conversation? And I could answer that more than ever, absolutely yes. And so the transition of being home all the time, I mean, don't kid yourself. We have our moments, okay? That's a whole different story from Kelly working on trying to overcome the Parkinson's and side effects from drugs from the doctor that we had to fire and different things like that. But for the most part, we're really enjoying it because we're homebodies anyway.
Yeah.
We're homebodies anyway, and that's what we love, you know? Give us a couple of Yorkies to love on and good friends to love on when we can, and we do. And none of us have caught anything. We use our head. We use common sense. You know, we're not wearing a mask today, but this is a very controlled environment. It's very clean, and I wouldn't come here if I didn't think so. I mean, heck, I go to Walmart's, and have right from day one.
Yeah.
You know that. And this one, she gets hers. Are you still getting yours delivered?
Oh.
That's so she
I'm
can
getting-
go out. But she gets them delivered so she can
What,
use her
groceries?
time to go out and
somewhere
socialize. To go somewhere else. I think it works, right?
Yes, whatever does work.
Well, that's the one thing is that we're adapting. We're adapting within our homes.
That's
you know,
right.
I have to say, I was always so busy, right, with things. Now I don't have the same obligations and commitments. But inside my home, like the Netflix thing, I never sat and watched movie. I mean, it would be a special thing to sit. But I have really enjoyed Netflix. I mean,
Are you binge watching?
binge watching.
I wanna binge watch something.
You know, and I don't do it all the time, but I'm just saying that I rarely did that. I mean, I would have to go to the movies to really sit and watch a big movie, something that you look forward to. But I've enjoyed being in my home. Just, you know, I cleaned out my closets for months, and then I got over that. You know? And then it was like, I need to entertain myself here. You know, crafts and things. You could do other things to keep yourself busy, but we have to adapt just hanging out in our house.
I know.
I mean, that became a thing that we had to learn how to do. And then adapting on the outside, or not going to our special restaurants for a while, you know.
Well,
now
you
it's
know,
different.
being that we've all known one another for a good little while, and we all do have our feelings and beliefs on what's happening out there. If you want to get a hold of us through Facebook, feel free to, and we'll decide whether or not we can, you know, share or not share, because oh, don't get me started. People are getting people are getting shut down for anything and everything out there, and so much more.
That's a whole other
Right?
thing,
Yes,
the
it is.
censorship.
The censorship. That's a
Well, yeah, because you can't share on Facebook.
Yeah. So that was a dumb thing to say, wasn't it? See, I'm trying to rethink of what we can do, what we can't do.
They can get hold of us there, but we can't share there.
Yeah. I'm waiting to see what kind of response, if I
You
hear
get
back.
someone's email address.
Huh?
You could get some. People could send you their email
Yeah.
address.
Or you
That-
can
that would
actually
be work.
talk on the phone.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Sometimes we have to go old
Well,
school.
that's
Yeah.
it,
Do you know,
too.
which is not a
Yeah.
bad thing. Now,
I
you're
think it's
talking
a
about
good
being
thing.
home.
Yeah.
That's true. Like when you said homebodies, looking at you, Barbara, you don't appear to be the homebody.
I
You look
am.
like you're ready for the dance floor all the time.
Well, that I am, always.
But you know what's interesting? Like my husband and I, we're usually in bed at 9 o'clock at night. We're super early, but we're very happy to be at home. I took up more cooking lately because usually we would travel a lot. But we were saying only recently, you know what? This is not bad for us. We enjoy one another's company. We have
Yeah.
so much peace at our house.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I've noticed, even with what you were saying with your grandchild, I have another good friend who was homeschooling 2 of her grandchildren for a few months. She said, Maura, I can't tell you how wonderful this
Oh,
was.
it was.
She said that, and now it seemed like maybe it would have been a negative thing, the world stopped, but she said, for me to be able to spend that kind of time with
Right.
my grandchildren is such a gift, and it's both ways. For a child
Yeah.
to spend time with their grandparents.
Yeah.
But some of this thing,
Treasure.
this idea of getting back to simplicity is a great way of
It is.
renewing, restarting, because when you can't do something that you used to do, in a way, you're forced into innovating. And interestingly enough, if you go back in time, people could entertain themselves years ago by playing cards, right? They would do board games.
Yeah.
Right.
There were always things people could come up with when we were growing
Do
up. How many
quilting.
kids played in the neighborhood? That would be unheard of today. So we could really look at this time and say, all right, what things are available to me? Like in your case, it's watching Netflix that I could not do before.
Not all
What
the
can I learn about? But you could really turn that situation around and say, you know what, I need to get beyond the box of even my own expectations and think about something new or a new way to do something.
Yeah.
And how can I even replenish my soul?
Right.
And then, should get us into something new. we've all become a society. It's not just here in the U.S., but it's around the world. We're so accustomed to seeing what the news is telling us or what social media is telling us. And then we feel like, well, if all these influencers tell us this, that must be what our future is. That must be our new reality. But says who? Can we individually decide, I'd like to determine what my future is, and it comes really from within.
It does.
We
absolutely.
decide, we choose, we can fashion it and form it, and then from wherever we are, we can choose relationships and the manners of how we're going to do things, moving out, and then we get to be the new way of replenishing the world.
Of course.
Renewing
Of
the
course.
earth, restoring people's souls, starting from our own.
Starting with
Absolutely.
When we started the new year, I don't know, I was watching something other, and the word introspection popped into my head and into my heart, and I thought, that's a good word, coming from within. And
Yes.
and when you come from within, you really you discover a lot with what's going on and where you might want to make change. I'll tell you, my best thing to do is pass the buck to my highest power.
That's what we were talking about.
My
that.
highest power,
Yes.
and it works, believe me. If you could have seen me in the living room the other day, I called you right when we came back from the audiologist. My husband could hear again. And I'm saying, thank you, Jesus. Could you just come down here? I want to give you a big hug. I just was, I mean, hearing is a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
For communication
Yes.
and just
Absolutely.
catching on what's going on. They say hearing is harder to lose than your sight, because if you lose your sight, you can pick up a lot of the atmosphere.
Right, but you know what I just learned this year was that hearing, for anybody out there, if you know anyone that's having hearing loss, especially if they're a senior citizen, that can go into dementia. You probably know that from all your skill sets and training and all. I did not know that. I just learned this. Oh, actually, I learned this last year. And it was a long story about the hearing devices, but I mean, Kelly could hear again, and he's so cute now, because if I say something and I'm in the kitchen and he's in the family room, he'll repeat what I just said.
Yeah.
And he's like a little parrot, because he wants me to know that he can hear.
Oh, isn't
You know,
that
some of these things are senses that we take for granted.
Absolutely.
We
Oh,
take
yeah.
it for granted, and this has been quite a learning experience for us in the last 6 months. He was gifted hearing devices, which we were so blessed with.
Oh.
So I tell you, you just toss it
Wonderful.
up there, and it'll work, right, Tinker?
Yep, yep.
And
So-
the hearing with sound too, you know, sound itself, like sound healing.
Yes.
Right.
Like
Yes.
you're mentioning the
Yes.
drums,
Yes.
music,
Yes.
dancing, movement.
Yes.
I mean, that is also soul nurturing.
It is,
You know,
it is.
that when we do feel lost or we feel bored or whatever, just turn the tunes on.
Very
You
true.
know, and that shifts your energy.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I
The
would
dancing.
like to share what's happened for us a little bit in what's happened during this time. So it has to do with decluttering. So I took Hay House, had a decluttering class online in January. So I took it because I am an information holic. And so I don't have piles of trash in my house or anything, but I have piles of stuff, information everywhere. And then I have a lot of stuff because as you may know, I sell a lot of things, so I have a lot of samples. I mean, sometimes way over the amount I should have. But the point that I want to make with this is I found in the back of a desk, so I was moving a desk, to move the desk, which was so heavy that I had to empty it first, and which is good because it's part of the decluttering, right? And so I moved the desk, and I found a manila envelope in the back of the desk.
Oh.
And I took it out. I was like, I don't know what this is. I just looked at it, and I realized that it was my sister, who was the executor of my mom's estate, had sent me all the pictures that I had sent to my mom over the years with my kids and grandkids, and little things like birth announcements and that type of thing. She had sent them back to me after my mom passed.
Oh.
And what happened when it came back was I couldn't deal with it. I was in grief. I was grieving. I couldn't deal with it, so I just stuck it in the back of that desk thinking I'll deal with it later. And it's been untouched for almost 10 years. This is year 10 that my mom has been gone.
Yes.
So I went through the pictures, and I took pictures, and I sent them to my kids and my grandkids of the appropriate pictures. So, you know, I would send the picture of the one son to his children, and it started a conversation.
Yeah.
And so what I found was if I just sent the picture, they may or may not really do anything, say much about it. But if I wrote a story, and we know how powerful stories are.
I
If
bet that was
if I
great.
wrote the story that had to do with the picture,
Yes.
What a wonderful.
you know, because I could just send it and say,
love
this
it.
was your dad when he was 12. You know, I could say that. But if I said, this is your dad when he was 12 and he had just gotten into trouble, you know, I mean, I could tell the story of it. You know, he had just gotten into trouble. Or in one case, I wrote, he said, I never knew my dad's hair was that red. And I said, well, not only did your dad have red hair, and you probably don't remember that, you don't know this because he's always out in the sun. He played golf, and, you know, so he's always bleached out. But I said his grandfather had red hair, and they called him Red. Now, I never met this was my son's grandfather. I never met him. But it was like it's telling the story for these kids who normally don't want anything to know about their great-grandfather. This would have been his great-great-grandfather, matter of fact. So the one grandchild, I have 4, the one grandchild, he was so excited about it. He goes, can you send me more? Can you send me more? And so I found that if I write the stories, that they really love it. And it's a way to share. And the granddaughter said, when I come down there, would you share these, will you actually give me the pictures? And I said, of course I will, because, you know, I'm sending it to them on their phones. But these are kids who really don't have much time for grandma. I mean, I'm lucky to get a text a month normally.
Right.
So I said to my husband, I said, I'm going to just spread this out as long as I can.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to take boxes of pictures and write stories about all of it. And then I decided to put it all in a book.
That's
So
beautiful.
That
a
is
book for
so
them, not a book.
nice.
Yeah.
Rich.
It's
Yeah.
not a book to sell. It's
And
a book
the-
for the kids.
And the
you know.
family history. I mean, you have the oracles are passed down from
Yeah,
the
and I've
elders
shared
of the
with them. I've
family.
shared the family tree. They don't
Yeah,
care, you know.
that's awesome.
But they might now.
Giving them in
But the
little
stories
nuggets,
is what
little
gives
nuggets
them-
and
Yeah.
stories. And you know what? Even though that's really clever. Like I never see them, and you're doing it on the phone, so you've got their attention. It's right on the
Yeah,
phone.
that was brilliant. Brilliant.
It is, but you know what? In
And-
the future, they will remember that.
That's
And
right.
that-
They will.
that's
And
right.
they
That's
always
so
Well,
will.
that's why I'm
They
going
will.
to.
They
That's why I'm
will.
going to put it in a little book for them.
Yeah,
It
that's
won't just be
awesome.
that, but what was I going to say about one of them? So because of that, I mean, you know, I have a granddaughter in Michigan who I haven't seen in 2 years because she can't come down because of this. And I don't know if she has a boyfriend or not. These aren't things that you can't, you know. Anyway, so Valentine's Day, I said, Happy Valentine's Day. Do you have a special Valentine? So she told me his name. And then I said, would you send me pictures? And she did. This is a lot more than I got a year ago, is
Oh,
what I'm
isn't
saying.
that
Right.
fun?
So,
That's
and
That's
that's
awesome.
all started because of my storytelling
That's
to them,
right.
I
See?
think.
What a
See?
wonderful.
And how
love it.
fitting being a publisher.
Yeah.
And what a
I love it.
timely moment for that
Yes.
package to
Yeah,
reappear,
and-
right?
Yeah,
Timing
and
is everything.
just little things. I mean, and a lot of them were
Divine
things.
timing. Yeah.
But, you know, there was
Yeah.
pictures of, you know, sitting on the Easter Bunny's lap. And, you know, I mean, and some of these kids are only half brothers and sisters. You know, the 2 in Michigan are just half brothers and sisters. And you probably know that my oldest grandson lost his mom 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years this year, lost his mom. So I was thinking about it. I was thinking, well, he's probably not getting the stories from he can't get the stories
Very
from his
good.
mom. He might get them from his grandma. But I doubt that he's going to get much of the pictures and all that from his stepfather.
Exactly.
And so I thought, well,
Priceless.
you know, maybe this is just something that I can enrich their lives
That's right.
with.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And my grandparents, they always wrote on the back of the pictures. You know, you look at the old pictures.
Yeah, I have those too.
And they always, they always wrote the date and who it was.
That was good that they
I
had
have
that.
to tell you, I have not done that. I mean, I have collected some and did a little bit, but now you're inspiring me because
Well, we did that
You
when
have
my
to
dad.
tell, people
When
aren't
my
gonna
dad
know
passed, we went
everybody.
through boxes of pictures,
Yeah.
boxes of pictures, and we'd pass it around. I mean, we were all sitting there after he passed, and we're like, "Do you know who this is? Do you know who this is?"
Yeah.
Because there was nothing written on the
Right.
majority of those pictures. So I did start writing on the pictures, but now we don't have pictures. We
Right.
have
We don't
digital
paper
things.
anymore.
With everything.
So
Yeah.
I still love pictures.
so
love it.
I do too.
So the one child, my youngest grandson, has not responded at all. He's the video guy. He's always on YouTube and all that, and he hasn't responded at all. So I just bought a little album for him, a little picture album, and I'm going to write the stories and send him the picture album to
love
see if
it.
that.
I think it's
So
great.
don't underestimate
Right.
these children because when I was
Yeah.
young, I loved looking at what went on before me.
Yeah.
And you know, there's something to, you think, all right, little kids, they can't relate to older people. But see how you were sharing pictures of like a 12-year-old, so that when their dad was a 12-year-old. I remember just eating that stuff up as a young person.
me too.
And what you do, you make things relatable for them.
And you
you
get to
never know, there
talk-
could be a life story, a commonality there, something they'll call on later. What were you going to say, Barbara?
You are so right about that. And Jason, my oldest son, the daddy of my grandson, there was almost every time they came over, he would say, "Where's that?" I have lots of pictures, but there was this one box that he always gravitated towards. And I asked him after about 6 times, he wanted to bring those out. And he lost his dad a few years back, and the boys took it pretty rough, and it still comes back and hits him in the face.
Yeah.
But I said, "Why do you always want to look at those pictures?" He says, "Because I really had a happy childhood, and I really want to look back at those." And yesterday, what did he do? We brought out all the albums. All the albums. And
But you know what?
he was
Not
sharing
only-
those with the grandson.
That's what I was just going to say, but that also encourages him to make that
Yes.
happy childhood for his son.
That's right.
exactly
And
right.
his,
That's right.
and they have a grandchild now
That's
too.
right.
So it's his son and the granddaughter.
yeah.
So that happiness is like spread forward
right.
in ACEs.
And you know what
I'm saying?
he's doing as well is his biological father, JD, knows who that is.
Yeah.
Because he has shown him the pictures.
That's exactly
Oh, that's
right.
Grandpa Marville, and he went to heaven. Mm-hmm. So that's just so beautiful.
It's
It is
important,
beautiful. That's
too.
a good word. And now look,
I
what you
didn't
just
tell
said
him
too.
to do that.
But see, now you also brought something out that I think is so important. You said he loves looking at this box, and you said, why? He said, because I really had a happy childhood. Do you hear that word, happy? Think about right now, how many things, you're laughing, but
No,
you're the happiness
because you're
club.
the ambassador of happiness.
Right.
Hello, that's why we're
But
chuckling.
there's an energy to it. Think about this. In the past, when everybody could go out, they could go out to restaurants, they could go out shopping, they could be at the Super Bowl, they could go to all these events, many of which requires, let's say, a lot of money. You might think that being able to do all those things because of money or because of the fact that you had all
Right.
kinds of freedoms
Right.
make you happy. But when he looks back at those pictures, is that what he's looking at, big events? I think it's everything that has to do with the heart. Sometimes it's just fun times together. It's making your own fun. It's being
It's
around
making
that
pizza in the
environment of
kitchen.
love.
You know, I mean, it's like
Yeah.
it's having a
Priceless.
family
Yes.
pizza party.
It-
I mean, those are the
exactly.
things that they
Yes.
love.
And I remember elder relatives of mine saying the same thing, like people that were around during the Depression. They made their own fun. They made their own happy times. There's such a wealth to be found in that.
Yes.
And so during this time, when a lot of people can't go out, can't
Yeah.
spend, can't do, they can learn to find the things really that do matter.
The
and
small
as you're
things
saying,
The small things,
teaching you how to
yes,
raise your own
yes,
children,
yes.
you want to think about happy times
Absolutely.
and happy moments.
And
I mean, what a
think, too,
gift.
I think, too, that it's an interesting, I think, going back, like with 23andMe and Ancestry.com,
Yeah.
has a resurgence of people realizing, they want to know their lineage and they want to know where they're from. I think it gives a sense of your beingness, where did I come from? Our heritage went back to Ireland, and it's 80% this and that. And it's interesting, but I think it gives us a sense of even purpose, now I'm interested in things that are Irish or
Right.
English or
Like, oh, that's
Italy.
where my temper comes
Or
from.
Italy. Right.
Did you see my little St. Patty's Day login?
No, that's cute.
So this Irish lass, she's got to wear this with that.
Good for you.
It does give us a new, renewed appreciation if you do know your lineage and your heritage, and maybe bringing that back. I made a little video for my family, and I found a lot of old pictures of our Irish heritage, my Irish great-great-grandmother, and I put a little video so that I could share it, with everyone. And-
Usually we don't share those until someone dies.
That's right.
I know.
So how great that you did it now.
know.
And you know what? That's where my pictures are going next, into that little video. I'm
That's
going to do
right.
that.
Do the video, and then I wanted to, and I haven't done it yet because I haven't finished. There's so much. Is to put it on a CD or some kind of
Yeah.
way or a stick, for the computer, and then you can share it with everyone in the family.
You're the one that got me
Because-
doing that with Animal
video.
Kingdom.
Yeah.
I love
and I
things
put
like this.
Irish
Just so
music
pricey.
behind it.
Is it? Now?
What was that?
What did I want to say?
I don't know, but
no, I lost
our
it.
time.
We're on.
We are
I was gonna
running.
say we're on TV. That's the audience.
I wanted to just say something that it's totally off topic, and I know we never stay on topic, but I wanted to say something. Many of you know that I'm out and about, and I know what's going on in our neighborhood, and our neighborhoods aren't the same, but it's true across probably most of the country now, but particularly here, there are a lot of people in need. And so I'm just saying I want to say to our audience that if you want to do something, if you're bored and you want to do something, there are so many things to do.
Oh, yeah.
So many things to give back. Just recently somebody contacted me, and I rocked babies in the NICU. Well, now they're building Easter baskets for our children of drug addicts. And so I was like, I'm behind that project, of course. And so what I'm saying is, I just talked to Alice Delgado, and many of you know Alice, and so she's working for Pasco Community Services, and they have housing for people who are homeless. So they have housing for that. And so there are so many opportunities to volunteer and give back. And so if you are sitting at home feeling sorry for yourself and playing that pity party thing, which we've all done, it's no judgment to you. It's just a fact that, contact me, contact any of us, and we can help you find a place to get back.
And you were telling me about that just before the show. And we like to believe that this is a platform to where we can give out and give some help, which is a perfect segue for me to mention. Rob, if you can get that link up for our Zoom call for weekly Wednesdays on personal growth. Sorry, that I didn't mean to say that. Personal growth. I'm sorry.
She needs a margarita.
I think we all do right now. If you could put that up, I know you will. We do it on Wednesdays, every Wednesday between 4 and 5 Eastern time. And anybody can come on this call if you have any questions. It's a live call, and we'll be happy to share some things with you on what's worked for us. And we will also be having other speakers and life coaches. You need to join us too. Any one of you guys are able to join us, because it's just an open conversation on how we can help one another.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that I got that little plug out for our Zoom. We just started those about 4 weeks ago, and it's doing very, very well. Less than 5 minutes. How are we closing the show today?
All right, I'm
Unscripted.
I put my glasses on.
Oh my God! Get him on straight. Doesn't she look like a movie star with that hair and the glasses?
I just found these glasses. I was like, they've got to be on my face.
I don't know where else you put them. They look the best
your other one. I like the blingy ones.
They're readers, and so I was like, okay.
Well, I have two things. All right, so number one, are people going to be able to see something where they could get involved in that call? Good.
Yes.
Because I'd love
thank
to
you.
join
You are so on it.
Two more things that I'd like to add. One is to pick up on what Helena said about if you're kind of by yourself and you're feeling alone and pitiful, go out and do something. But sometimes it could be something as simple as baking and bringing something to a neighbor.
Yes.
I told you I started cooking. Was it my forte? And baking. I have one great recipe. I found the most glorious boxes to put cookies in, and I started giving them to people. And I can't tell you, I've gotten follow-ups. I think you wrote to me, right? Those cookies, I gave you some.
Yeah.
And it made me happy to be able to do
they
it,
were
but
delicious.
it made me happy to be able to share them. That was the whole idea. All right. One more thing, if I could just add, this has been my little contribution. Anybody that wants to remember, if they're a podcaster or they like listening to podcasts, Maura Sweeney, Living Happy Inside Out, which is the name of my podcast. I've been doing the ABCs of Now series, where every episode we take a letter, we take a word that goes with it, and what we're doing is navigating our way through this massive change. This is cosmic change we're all going through, and every episode helps people look at some of the original ABCs of life that we learned through different concepts and saying, how do I feel about it? What do I like?
Right.
What do I want to take forward?
Yes.
And what do I want to leave behind? And how can I start getting ready to show up for a new and happier, brighter world, because I'm going to be one of the influencers in it.
And
as each one of us should
we
be.
all are, and I'm glad that you mentioned that so people can get a hold of you as well. Cher, I know you're doing a lot. You're still coaching. Fortunately, it's working out. You're at home.
Sharon Kistler on Facebook right now is a really good way. Private message me. And one of my suggestions is do a friend check-in. You know,
Oh,
if you
yes.
think of someone that's
Yes.
alone, give them a call, you know, surprise them. Or even on Facebook, you know, do the private message and just say, I'm thinking of you, or, you know, sending
Yes.
some kind of inspirational quote or something just for that person, though. Make it personal.
Yes,
And maybe
yes.
do a surprise call.
I did that on Facebook the other day, and it was a friend who, because you never know when they will need you to reach out to them. It was Sunday that I posted something, and she was posting something about Pet Day and show love of a pet, and I said, show love of a friend, call me, let's catch up. I was on the phone with her for 2.5 hours.
Exactly.
She had lost 3 family members in less than 6 months. A very, very dear friend of mine, and I couldn't have spent a better 2.5, I think maybe 3 hours on the phone. Imagine that. Not that I would talk so much, but anyway, it
You're
worked
right.
out.
See, you know what that is? There's that connection, the
That's
heart
right.
connection. And that's right. It could be on Facebook. It could be someone in the neighborhood. It could also be somebody right far away. And have you ever seen
exactly.
somebody that keeps appearing before you in the back of your head, and you think,
yes.
I need to reach out, send them a text?
Yes.
I did that with a cousin of mine, and he said, I can't believe you reached out to me. He said, I was just feeling so low.
Yes.
And so these
And
things,
people
it makes
don't wanna
us feel
share
good, and it makes them feel good.
Absolutely. I mean, we ended
And it
up
can-
laughing by the end of the call. We both cried, and it was just it was a cleansing. And if we could all do that with one
That's right.
person, you know, here and there, it only takes a person to really get the chain reaction
And that
going.
cleansing is healing.
The cleansing
right.
is so
That's
healing.
right.
It truly is. Don't be
Knowing-
afraid to let your hair down and
Yeah.
shed a few tears, and you'd be surprised how that
Or,
process.
or put your cowboy boots and hat on.
Put your cowboy boots
The
on,
little
your
shit
hat,
chicken.
and get kicking.
Then get on your pony and ride.
Get on your pony and ride.
Share. That reminds me of a motorcycle.
Oh, that's a good one. Motorcycle outfit next time. Okay, it's time to say goodbye. God bless.
Our
Thanks for
swag.
joining us.
Here we go.